Hey, my name is James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the pressure on the Bank of England to cut interest rates. The reason for that is the amount of no-fault evictions Section 21's being issued is going up at an alarming rate. Not only that, repossessions are on the rise as well, also at an alarming rate. We're going to talk about where repossessions stand right now. How does that compare to the 2008 crash? In fact, the 2008 crash, it was actually a year after when repossessions actually hit their peak. So I've got some data on all of that so we can really evaluate what is happening in the market and what the Bank of England should be doing right now, because effectively they are getting pressure from all sides right now to cut rates and stop the pain for a lot of people. Before we jump into this, as always, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We've got new content, news, property strategies, all sorts of things every single day on this channel. So smash that subscribe over there. And while you're there, in the similar sort of area, smash like or tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm. It gets us more views on the channel. It means you're just an all-round great person for doing it. So go on, smash that button. It'll make me happy. So what is going on? Well, higher interest rates off the back of inflation obviously cause pain for a lot of people, right? And so we had interest rates, they increased at the fastest speed ever. Yes, we've had higher interest rates. We've had way higher interest rates. And yes, we're at the average, the normal average, but we haven't had these types of interest rates for nearly 20 years. And so it makes a big difference to people that got interest rates out at 1%, 1.5%, 2%. I had a deal at 1.25% at one stage. It makes a big difference to people when rates surge up like they did. And off the back of that, what happened was that rents went up, right? And so rents are going up at a really fast rate. It's one of in the inflation data, ironically, we put the interest rates up, which meant the landlords put the rents up, which meant that the inflation went up because the rents are higher. And so the inflation on rent is nearly 10% at the moment. And so because of that, people have got into arrears, and that means that some landlords will have needed to get rid of their tenants. But also, there's tons of anti-landlord stuff happening at the moment. We've got Section 24, which is the high tax rate. You've got interest rates. You've got the Renters Reform Bill, the Section 21 stuff, which worries a lot of landlords, which meant a ton of landlords left and they got possession back of their property. So first off, we'll look at the rental market, what's going on. And there is a lot. And so Section 21s and Section 8s, these are different ways that you can get rid of people. Unfortunately, these have been really rocketing, and the homeless charities have been talking about this. So we have had in a year 24,874, which is a lot, right? And so nearly every town, some towns are big, some towns are small. There's like 1,000 towns in the UK. That's around 24 people in every town. If you live in a small town, that's a lot of people. Not so much in London, but the number in London would have been way more than 24. Of course it would. This is 6% up, right? This is 6% up. So some of this is landlords just want to get their property back, get out of the market. Some of it's tenants are in arrears, or all sorts of things, right? And that's a problem, right? And that isn't great for those people. Maybe they struggle to get accommodation after that, or the next accommodation they go into is a lot more expensive. That doesn't help anybody, right? And so they're going to struggle. If they struggle to pay the rent at that property, if they've got to pay more at the next one, they're going to struggle even more. So how does that help? Well, the repossession data is also not looking great. And these are repossessions in the last quarter. These aren't repossessions that completed. These are the banks are actively going through the process at the moment of trying to get these properties repossessed, and it's a big number. It's 5,182. 5,182. Now, how does that compare to last year? That could be a small number, right? That's roughly 5 per town. But yeah, it's up considerably on last year's data. It's up 28%. Now, here's something I want you to consider here, right? There is a mortgage scheme at the moment that means that lenders aren't meant to be repossessing. So these are the really severe cases. You could also move your mortgage onto interest only, or you have been able to do that. Right? I'm not sure if that's finished yet, but that was an option, right? I did talk about that on the channel. And if you're struggling, right, and you are struggling with your mortgage at the moment, have a look and see if you can go on interest only for 6 months, because that might give you some breathing space. But that has been in place. I'm not 100% sure if that's still active, but it was there, meaning people could have had some respite, but still the repossessions have gone up. Really, really not great. How does this compare to 2009? 2009 was the worst year for repossessions. This was after the financial crash. And the financial crash was crazy times. Like, you could get a property and they would give you 110% of the value, right? Meaning you buy a house that's worth 100 grand, they would lend you 110,000 pounds. And the idea was that that extra 10,000 pounds would be to invest in the property, new kitchens, new bathrooms, and then you'd bring the value up and they would be safe. But that didn't happen. People spent that on holidays, cars, these sorts of things. And then they got in difficulty, couldn't pay for their mortgage. And then what happened was they just gave the keys back. They just said, you know what, here's the keys. And all the banks started to struggle and some of them went bust, as we know. So 2009, the repossessions in 2009 were 26,419. So we aren't there yet. This is a quarter, that's a year. So if you times that obviously by 4, we're still under that, but it's getting close. The repossessions are definitely starting to pick up speed. And if the interest rates aren't cut, that's what everyone's starting to pressure on the Bank of England now, is inflation is going down. We know that. In fact, we've got some good news today that said energy cap is going down again in July. That's good. That's going to really help inflation. A lot of people said with the Red Sea stuff, do you remember that was going on a little while ago, that energy prices would soar and we would start paying more. The energy cap is going down in July. That's going to help people a bit, right? Not loads, but it is definitely going to help people a bit. And so that is moving in the right direction for inflation. So we know that's coming. We know this month's inflation data is going to be better. Now's the time to drop. One of the biggest things on inflation, this is what really gets my goat, right? One of the biggest increases on inflation is rent, right? Although I'm a landlord, rent increases are permanent. Very unlikely that anyone gets their rent put up that it's going to go down. It's one of the biggest costs that people have. The average rent is up 10% at the moment. That's included in the inflation data. Mortgages are not. That is included in the mortgage data, in the inflation data. And so that's pushing up the inflation number. If we could bring that rent cost down, then the inflation data would be much better and we might not need to be at these high rates. So keeping the rates high is pushing the rents up, pushing landlords out, which pushes the rents up, and it's going around in a vicious circle, not helping itself. That's my opinion anyway. What do you think? Do you think they should be cutting rates now? Some of you that are savers don't, I know that, that's fine. Comment below with your thoughts and opinions. Do smash the like button. What do you think we need to do? Where do you think we go from here? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinion. Smash subscribe, then you'll get all the updates on the channel. Do check out some other content on the channel, including this video right here.